I'm in Tarpon Springs, Florida. This behind me is the Pinellas Trail, which runs from the very border entering Pinellas County, Florida, and goes all the way into St. Petersburg, Florida. This is a significant trail for me because it was my first pilgrimage. I did a small 2-day pilgrimage where I completed the entire Pinellas Trail for the organization Modern Catholic Pilgrim in May of 2020. It was also a trail that I used a lot in preparation for my pilgrimage in Ireland, which is why I think it's particularly poignant that I introduced the second video in my Ireland vlog series while taking a leisurely stroll on the Pinellas Trail. There's another reason that today is such an important video for me, and that's it's debuting on August 8th, 2022, which is my grandfather on my mother's side. It's his 100th birthday. Now, he passed away a number of years ago, so unfortunately he is not alive to celebrate it. But when I was growing up in an abusive household with an abusive father, my grandfather on my mother's side provided the perfect example of a positive male role model. So I actually had this positive role model to look up to while I was dealing with an abusive father. And I knew that not all men had to act like that. And since it is his 100th birthday, I would really, really love to collect donations for Casa of Pinellas County in honor of my pilgrimage on Ireland's National Famine Way and in honor of his 100th birthday. If we can get just 5 people today on his 100th birthday to donate $20, that will be an extra $100 going to Casa of Pinellas County so they can help survivors of domestic violence. That is casapinellas.org/CASAPINELLAS.org/walkwithrick/. Now we are going to return to my vlog series from Ireland. I'm going to pick things up in a hotel room in Limerick, Ireland, which is where I was when I finally made the decision which trail I was going to try after the Ireland Way became unsustainable. This one is not as depressing, not as emotional as the last one. It's really fun, and you're gonna get to see the start of the trail that I actually finished. So take it away, me from the past. All right, so a lot has happened since I last talked to you. Obviously, my knees had a big collapse while doing the first stretch of the Ireland Way, and the last time I talked to you, I broke down crying because I'm not going to be able to do the Ireland Way in the time that I have allotted to myself. There are a lot of different issues. Yes, I'm having these knee issues, but also the trail apparently a little further up from where I was has not been maintained very well since reopening from the COVID closures. Also, a lot of the small accommodations in these small towns are hosting Ukrainian refugees, which means that that's a great thing, of course, like, obviously awesome. And I completely understand why Ireland is opening up accommodations for Ukrainian refugees. However, the problem for me is that then a lot of these small towns are even harder to navigate. And I didn't want to have a health emergency, have one of my knees, God forbid, go out on me completely, tear something, and be stranded in the middle of nowhere with no place to stay and no way to get back to Dublin so that I could get back to the United States. So we're recalculating things, and I'm staying tonight in Limerick because Dublin hotels were ridiculously expensive. But I found, for a fairly reasonable rate, this incredible hotel, and I'll have a full video about this hotel a little later, or maybe you've already seen it. I don't know the order I'm going to do these things yet. But I'm sitting here with an Apache pizza on the top floor of a fancy hotel in Limerick, Ireland. And I'm starting to feel a little better than I was when I last talked to you, and I was very sad, and I was crying, honestly. This trip has shown me so many things about what's important to me and what should be important to me. I have met some of the most incredibly nice people. I met a gentleman on the train who walked me to the hotel because he's like, "Oh, do you know where that's located?" And I said, "I'm sure I could figure it out." He's like, "No, I want to show you my town." And he just walked me from the train to the hotel. I've been talking on trains with just amazing people. I met Barter, who I've talked about on the trail. This has just been an eye-opening experience about compassion from people. When I was almost stranded, I was taking so long to get down the one hill because my knees were just almost literally burning. And every step down the hill was putting so much pressure on my knees. And it was taking me forever. And coming up the hill were a couple. I don't know if they were a romantic couple, but they were two people. He was from Germany and she was from Chechnya. And I hope I'm correct with that. Czechia, I believe. Anyway, I probably butchered it. What used to be the Czech Republic. And they saw me struggling. And she didn't know a lot of English, I think, because she didn't say much. But the German fellow, he just would not leave until he knew that I was okay, that I was going to make it to the next stop. And of course, it was my knees. It wasn't like my heart or anything. You know, I always say hardware and software. Your hardware, your knees, your ankles. Those are things that even if they completely collapse on you, you're still alive. The software being your heart, your lungs, things like that. So I knew I was going to be okay. I knew I was going to make it eventually. But he just wanted to make sure that I was going to be okay. And I remember telling him how I was just so sad knowing that I wasn't going to be able to complete it. And I said, I'm going to have to give up on it. And he said, I don't like the phrase give up because you're doing what's best for yourself. And because I'm doing this for survivors of domestic violence, that just really stuck with me. You don't have to stick with something just because you said, I'm going to do, if it's bad for you, if it's hurting you physically, emotionally, you don't just have to stick it out just because you feel some sort of obligation. And when he said that and I realized why I'm doing this, I said, okay, I'm going to find another trail. And we found another trail. I just don't want to say anything about it until I know I'm absolutely sure when I'm going to be starting on that new trail. But we found a new trail. It doesn't have as many mountains, so I think my knees are going to be able to hold up. But even if they don't, I'm going to be in more populated areas. So if something goes wrong, it's going to be easier for me to get help. And I think this one's going to be nice and long. It's not going to be 620 miles, but it's going to be long enough that it's still a significant effort to put forth for survivors of domestic violence. There aren't as many mountains, so my knees are going to feel a lot better. I bought a ton of Aleve cream so that if the knees are hurting, I can fight through it. And I may have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew. As a matter of fact, if you look at the size of this pizza that I'm about to eat, I might have done it twice. But I'm determined to make sure that this works and that we raise money for survivors of domestic violence for CASA of Pinellas County. CASAPinellas.org/walkwithrick/ CASAPinellas.org/walkwithrick/. I am so determined to make sure this works because the one thing I want to do is help people. And I've had so much success with the Tall Guy Talks Travel podcast just in the short time we've been doing it, and not just success with a lot of listeners, which we've been getting more and more listeners, and it's really been inspiring to me, but Sarah and Marissa, who have been my guest hosts, have become really good friends, especially, and this isn't putting down Marissa at all, but especially Sarah, and it's just been really, really incredible the way that I've been blessed. And I just want to share some of that. And I wanted to do something that signified the struggle of somebody trying to survive domestic violence. And if there's anything that signifies that struggle more than starting and finding out that you're not ready yet, or that this may be too much for you, and trying to find a more navigable way, well, that's an analogy that I think we can all understand. And I lucked into this hotel. I'm going to take a bath after being at a campsite and not eating like a real meal, and having a shower, but in a shower that was basically outside. And I'm going to have a nice long bath. I am going to get these knees ready for a hike. Maybe it's not a hike through the mountains, but it is going to be incredibly symbolic, and I can't wait to bring you along with me. I don't know exactly how this video is going to shape out in the end of things, because I'm just recording myself and going through different ideas, but I am convinced that by the time you watch this, we have done some amazing things, and we're going to have more amazing things on the horizon. I am in Strokestown, Ireland. First of all, I get it. Just get it out of the way now. You can laugh. It's a funny name. It's Strokestown, Ireland. But for the past few days, I have been mending my knees, but also trying to heal a little bit mentally, because I had spent 2 years saving money, training, getting ready, getting myself psyched to do the Ireland Way. This was such a huge goal of mine, and then in just the first week, it all fell apart. My knees just couldn't handle it. The mountains were too onerous for my knees, and I had to readjust. I don't want to say quit. I didn't quit. I'm readjusting. So now, instead of going south to north in Ireland, I'm going west to east. I'm still basically crossing almost the entire island. I'm going from Strokestown on the National Famine Way all the way into Dublin. It has not been easy to get here. Like I said, mentally, this has been a huge, I'd almost say, a little bit like a mourning of something that I had really, really wanted to do, and I thought I was going to be able to do it. I did the research, I put in the effort, but sometimes you can see an elevation and know that you can do an elevation under certain circumstances, but not under these circumstances, and you don't know that until you get there. I like to equate it to temperature, and if you hear that it's going to be 92 in Florida when you're on a Walt Disney World vacation, for example, and you hear, oh, 92, that's not that bad, it gets 92 around me, and then you get around how muggy it is in Florida and you just can't handle it because it actually feels so much hotter. That was kind of what the beginning of the Ireland Way was like for me, and I knew I did too much damage to my knees that at least by the time I healed them, which I have now had the chance to do, I wasn't going to have enough time to finish. So here I am in Strokestown, going to do the National Famine Way, following the course of, for example, some of my ancestors who during the Great Potato Famine took routes very similar to this into Dublin and then went all around the world, including members of my family who went to the United States. I think symbolically, this might even be a better trail to do for my efforts to raise money and awareness for domestic violence. It is a very different type of fleeing, of escaping a bad situation, but there are some of the same emotions, some of the same issues of having to leave home, leave a place you've loved, because it's just not healthy for you anymore, and the trauma that comes along with that. I've said, as I've talked with my friends, my wife, my mother, about what I've experienced in Ireland with the people, is there's never been a nicer group of people that I've ever met. Everybody in Ireland is incredibly nice. However, you can definitely sense this overarching collective trauma here, and that is apparent. You can sense it, especially in some of the older generations, when you're talking with some of the older people. Not just because of the famine, but also with everything that has gone on here with British rule and things like that. There is definitely a collective trauma associated with that. So I think that relates really well to survivors of domestic violence. Anyway, please don't blame CASA of Pinellas County for my bad knees. Please continue to donate. casapinellas.org/walkwithrick/ that's CASAPINELLAS.org/walkwithrick/. I am trying to salvage this. I'm trying to still make this the trip of a lifetime for me, but also to help people And that has been my goal this entire time. I'm going to continue to talk throughout this journey. I'm going to continue to take you along with me. Please don't punish CASA of Pinellas County for my shortcomings. Thank you so much. So here I go on attempt number 2. The National Famine Way. Alright, so I'm a few hours into the National Famine Way. I'm taking a break. I am at a Texaco, which is very American, but I have been going for a few hours now. I started a little later. I thought I would take advantage of the bed and breakfast that I had yesterday and sleep in a little bit before I got started. However, I may look for a hotel in this town, even though I haven't really gone all that far. But it would be a nice first day, and to sort of reward myself for getting back out there on the trail and trying to rest up the knees, get a second shower in as many nights, third shower really in as many nights. Actually, I've had showers for about a week now, so maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'm trying to keep my drinks from rolling away. One thing that I absolutely love after a hike is to get a strawberry milk. I don't know why. I never have strawberry milk except for when I'm hiking. But there's just something about a strawberry milk at the end of a hike. I don't know what it is, but I love it. So they had some strawberry milk, so I'm gonna have some right here. And I'm thinking about getting a hotel for the first night. Something about it just hits the spot. I don't know what it is. There's actually an ad for Alton Towers, the theme or amusement park. I think it's a theme park. Alton Towers Resort. I believe that's over in England, and I'd love to get there someday, of course, as a theme park fanatic. I'm feeling a lot better than I was feeling after I had to stop the Ireland Way. Had I just set out to do the National Famine Way, there would have been nothing embarrassing about it. It still would have been impressive. I still could have, as I am, could have been doing it for domestic violence awareness, and I'm still doing it for domestic violence awareness. Please donate to CASA of Pinellas County, CASAPINELLAS.org/walkwithrick/. I can still do all those things. It's just a different trail, and it might be more significant. I've passed some things that I don't think I would have passed on the other trail. Some of the things you'll see on social media and not in these videos, but some of them you will see here on YouTube. I'm just trying to make the best of it, and I'm feeling a lot better emotionally. My knees are sore, but that's okay. I can fight through sore knees as long as I know if anything goes wrong, I can get help. I'm close to civilization, and I'm at a Texaco. You don't get much closer to civilization than that. So I'm gonna have my drinks here. I'm gonna look for a hotel. If I find one, I'm gonna get started bright and early tomorrow morning and see if I can put in a good 20-25 miles. I want to get a big day someday soon here. So thank you for coming along on this journey with me. Spoiler alert, when I recorded that from the parking lot of the Texaco, I had no idea I was about 100 yards from a really, really nice hotel where I spent the night on my first evening on Ireland's National Famine Way. When I pick up with the vlog series next week in video number 3, I'll be walking from the Texaco to that hotel where I spent the first night. Then you'll see all of my second day on Ireland's National Famine Way. Remember, I'm doing all of this to raise money and awareness in the fight against domestic violence. Please consider donating to CASA of Pinellas County, Florida, casapinellas.org/walkwithrick/. That's CASAPINELLAS.org/walkwithrick/$20. That would be what we're asking, but 15, 10, 5. There are no middlemen, there are no processing fees, so every single dollar you donate goes to CASA of Pinellas County to help survivors of domestic violence. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, today is my grandfather's 100th birthday. This is my grandfather on my mother's side. So when I was growing up in an abusive household, he was the one providing a positive male role model. He passed away about a decade ago, so he's no longer alive, but I still think a donation in both his honor and in honor of my pilgrimage would be a really great way to honor not only my grandfather, but also the positive male influences in all of our lives. So thank you for that. Another vlog from this series next Monday on the Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty YouTube page. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.